The verse of the day is Proverbs 20:12, and it says, "Ears to hear and eyes to see, both are gifts from the Lord." I think our eyes and our ears are probably the most taken for granted. When I think about, it's such a blessing to have health in my eyes and my ears, to hear and see, because these are both very intentional things God gave us as human beings to experience the world and to experience Him. And I think it speaks volumes about what part they both play, because when we can see and hear, it helps us understand who He is. It gives us a spiritual lens, spiritual vision, spiritual hearing. And if it weren't for both of these avenues, it would be difficult to experience Him in the ways that we do. There are a few things that stick out to me in today's verse, but the way my translation reads, I kind of prefer, because it says, both are gifts from the Lord. Not only just when we're born, it's a gift to have these things, to be able to see and experience the world and hear, and all the things that we get to hear, whether it's laughter, music, so many things, people's voices. And it reminds me of how when I started following Jesus and really running with Him, the main thing that I get so thankful for is, Lord, thank you for giving me eyes to see and ears to hear who you are. I think a ton of the world is blinded to who God is and doesn't hear really the things that God is trying to get their attention with, because their hearts are hardened. And it is a gift to be able to know God the way you do, and see God the way you do, and hear Him the way you do. And I think we all get to experience and see Him and hear Him in different ways, which is the beauty of relationship and Him being intentional with each and every one of us. But it just reminds me of wow, God, it is such a gift. I am so, so thankful that I see you the way I do, that I hear you the way I do, because it makes it so clear to me who He is and who He created me to be. And I think if you're someone who's like, well, shoot, I don't feel like I have that. I don't feel like I can see God and hear Him in a way that I desire. There are ways to grow in these areas, and He wants you to see, He wants you to hear more. And all it takes is creating space for Him and crying out to Him that you want those things. Lord, help me to see you more in my everyday life. Lord, help me to pay attention when you're speaking. Lord, help me to hear when you're trying to talk to me. Help me to listen well. And I think one step is seeking Him in that area and asking and getting specific with the things you desire to see and hear. But at the same time, when you're developing relationship and you're learning more about who He is, what He says, what's true, what's not, things are going to start to click, because the Holy Spirit reveals things to you in the right time. 1 John 2:27 paints this so clear. It says, "But you have received the Holy Spirit, and He lives within you. So you don't need anyone to teach you what is true, for the Spirit teaches you everything you need to know, and what He teaches is true and not a lie." The Holy Spirit teaches you everything you need to know. So as you're on this journey of growing in relationship, you can trust that God is going to reveal things in the right time. You can trust that He's going to open your eyes to understand new revelation, to hear His voice more clearly as you continue to step with Him. And it's in this relationship, the more you spend time in His presence, the Holy Spirit is going to illuminate things that we get to work on, that we get to grow in. And it's in our understanding of knowing where we can be more obedient that our eyes get opened and our ears get opened. Because as we step in obedience, because when He gives us revelation, it's now on us to be obedient. We have a responsibility now with new revelation to walk it out. So when we walk it out, we're going to start to see why God said what He said, because things are going to start to click. And this is my favorite thing about being obedient. It's like, wow, God, you said that for a reason. You said don't do this and do this instead, because you want freedom for me. You want me to experience unconditional love. You want me to give unconditional love. You want me to look like you. And when I start to look like you, I am the purest form of love. So if you're someone who's like, I want to see more, I want to hear more, Lord, help me to understand more. Your job is simply getting in His word and spending one-on-one time with Him, developing relationship, and the Holy Spirit is going to teach you what you need to know. And He's going to help you see more clear and help you hear more clearly. So if being more obedient opens your eyes and ears, what would close your eyes and ears? disobedience. Because when we're disobedient, our hearts get hardened. We start to look at things that aren't good for us, which start to get us to change our behavior, change how we think. This goes back to that verse that says your eyes are the window to your soul. What you spend time looking at, what you spend time listening to affects what goes into your heart. And so this is why we have to guard our heart above all else, because that's where everything flows from. So if you're watching, for example, porn, or you're watching something that is not good for you, it's going to damage your soul. It's going to damage your heart. And that will give you a different lens to look through. And then you're not going to be paying attention when God shows up. You're not going to hear him as clearly because your heart has turned, has hardened, and is now walking in sin. And that just means that you're going to be distracted and focusing on things that aren't of God rather than what God is trying to tell you, which is, hey, don't watch that. Hey, come to me and I will fulfill your entire heart. Hey, look to me and you'll be able to see and hear clearly, and I'll protect you from the things that try to draw you away from love and ruin your soul and ruin your relationships. I think other examples are the movies we watch, the music we listen to. You have to be aware of the conviction that God is working in your heart. So if certain things rub you the wrong way and are a block for you to stumble, you need to create better boundaries. You need to maybe not watch certain movies. You need to maybe not listen to certain music. The funniest thing that happened to me, and this is just how God talks. It's so easy to be like, God isn't speaking, but he's always speaking. I remember I was at the gym and I was like, okay, today I'm only going to listen to worship music. And the entire time I was at the gym, God was just speaking and speaking. And my brain was just like twirling, and all this revelation was being had. And it was because my attention was on him. My focus was on him. And when we're focused on him, our ears are open to listen. When we're focused on things that aren't of him, we're distracted and we're not open to listen. So it's not that God isn't speaking, it's that we're not paying attention. So when we turn our attention to the attention he's trying to gain from us, we start to hear more, we start to see more. So it has everything to do with our habits. And are we spending time with him in the morning? Because that's building a foundation for your relationship. That's helping you learn how to be present, learn how to listen, learn his character. And when you put that into practice every day, it spills into your all day. Not just in the morning or at night, but in your every moment. You get to pay attention when you're driving and you see something and God drops something in your spirit, or when you're at work and you're working on something and there's a little God wink. He's able to talk to you and show you things all day long. It is a gift to be able to see and know God the way we do. And it is a gift that can always evolve and develop. So if you want to see him more and hear him more, tell him that you want to. Ask him to help you be more obedient, to create good boundaries so you can keep your attention on him, so that you are open and ready to see and hear what he wants to show you and tell you. Okay?